Hopefully we'll have the full complement of 19 trucks that are here this weekend out in this one. The grid lines up like this. Tom O'Rourke on pole in the International Navistar alongside Martin Gibson's MAN. Row 2, Stephen Powell, number 3, will be alongside his teammate Neil Yates, number 33. John Bowler in his MAN goes from row 3, number 14, alongside 69, David Jenkins. Then row 4, Stuart Oliver and Ryan Smith, two men with 19 British titles between them, and it could be 20 if Ryan Smith comes out on top, or indeed if Stuart Oliver comes out on top this year. Could he win an 11th title? Row 5, David Smith in his MAN, returned to racing last year after a few years away. Starts alongside the new Mercedes of Adam Bint. Then on row 6 we have Archie Handy in his Volvo alongside Michael Oliver. He's got a grid penalty in this one of 2 places for contact in yesterday's second race, son of Stuart Oliver. Row 7, Simon Cole in the Iveco. Sami Ojanen on the grid will start. On the grid sheet, he's alongside Simon Cole, but he may be moved to the back because he was disqualified from the first race yesterday, which sets the grid for this one. Then we've got Jake Evans and Bradley Harvey. And at the back of the field, 2 more newcomers. Callum Eason in his MAN, the ex-Mini Challenge racer. His parents have both raced in British truck racing in the past. Wayne and Joanne Eason, and Graham Poole will start at the back. Had a couple of spins yesterday on his truck racing debut. Here they come. Aren't they magnificent? 5 tons, almost 1,000 horsepower each. Electronically limited to 100 miles an hour. 12 and 13 litres in the engines, all running on sustainable fuel, supplied by one of the championship sponsors. That's BWOC, nationwide bulk fuel supplier. The other championship partners are Napa Auto Parts UK, GT Tyres, Neil Yates Recovery, MV Commercial, that's Tom O'Rourke's business, Total Care Vehicle Lifts and Testing Equipment, Sylvie Fleet Management and Fuel Cards, Transport Monitoring Solutions, Truck and Driver Magazine, Freuhaus Trailers, Valvoline Oils and LTS Global Solutions. Thanks to all the partner sponsors of the British Truck Racing Championship. The Napa Auto Parts DAF leading the trucks around to the grid where they will form up. Maximum capacity for truck racing is 20 trucks. We have 19 here this weekend. Good to see John Powell's out there. He missed the first race yesterday, so starts at the back for this one. I think Sami Ojanen will start at the back as well after that exclusion yesterday. There's the sea suit, sponsored by Mad Croc Energy Drink. John Powell, as we say, in a borrowed DAF this weekend. You can see drops of rain on the camera lens. You can also see there the tyre marks. That's where Simon Cole went off in yesterday's race after he lost his gears. He went straight on at Clearways into the tyres. Thanks also to Trackside Recovery for their support this weekend, bringing in some heavy artillery for truck race recovery. Not very easy to pull one of these out of a gravel trap. You may have seen parked by the race control building, Mick Gould commercials, massive American Peterbilt. We saw that on track yesterday. Truck racing as a sport began in the UK in 1984 with an event at Donington Park contested by road-going trucks who quite literally pulled into the paddock, unhitched their trailers, went racing and then got back on the road again. There were a number of motor racing celebrities in that event. Barry Sheene, Martin Brundle and various other stars of motorsport had a go. Barry Sheen's great friend and rival from motorcycle racing, Steve Parish, later took up truck racing and became European champion. And the sport just exploded from there. Starting to get them formed up then. With Tom O'Rourke, the Scotsman, on pole. Haven't seen very many truck racers from Scotland over the years. Back in the 90s, I remember Archie Argo used to travel down from up in the north of Scotland. His nearest circuit that stage truck racing was Donington back in those days. I'd like to have seen his diesel built for transporting his race truck. Martin Gibson alongside. He's done a lot of development work with championship sponsor GT Tyres over the years. Done a lot of testing for them. He's raced cars as well. We've seen him in the Fun Cup Endurance Series. Stephen Powell on row 2, a rather different occupation. He owns a pub just down the road from Brands Hatch. The Portobello Inn. If he has a win here, there'll be a party there tonight. And Neil Yates, his teammate alongside him, runs a recovery business. He's taken up truck racing over the last couple of years as teammate to Stephen Powell. Had a big crash at Thruxton a couple of years back. John Bowler on row 3. He's an ex-Division 2 man, moving up to Division 1 over the last 2 or 3 years with the MAN. David Jenkins, a former champion, alongside him. But the big two on row 4, Stuart Oliver and flying Ryan Smith. Ryan began his career in a Sisu in Division 2. Moved on up through the Division 1 rankings. He's raced MANs, he's raced a Mercedes Actros, which proved a little bit unreliable. Didn't stop him taking another title though. And now a 9 times in a row Division 1 champion, going for 10 in a row this year. Stuart Oliver has 10 titles. He didn't win them consecutively though because of competing in the European Championship in intervening years and winning that as well. David Smith on row 5, the white MAN, number 11. He's a former Division 2 champion of several years ago. He starts alongside another former Division 2 champion now in Division 1, which is Adam Biggs. Here we go then, rolling starts. 15 minutes of racing. Race 3 of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship. What a magnificent sight they make. There's Graham Poole in the third of the Treble 3 Motorsports trucks towards the back. And the fourth of them is the truck on loan to John Powell. Raining a little out there. It's going to be slippery, so nobody goes sliding off at Paddock Hill Bend. And a couple of red flags yesterday. First for Simon Cole in the tyres at Clearways, and in race 2 after Graham Poole had spun off at Surtees. Using this rolling lap to find where the grippiest part of the circuit is. All trucks on GT tyres. See, the circuit has got pretty damp very quickly here. This is going to be an interesting one. Tom O'Rourke on pole, Martin Gibson alongside. Around 18,000 horsepower about to be unleashed here at Brands Hatch. Over 90 tons of truck out there on circuit. All electronically limited, of course, to 100 miles an hour. They may not be achieving that in these slippy conditions. It's going to be slip and slide in this first truck race of the day. Oh yes, I'm looking forward to this. Watch for Ryan Smith and Stuart Oliver from the fourth row of this partially reversed grid. Race 3 of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship. The pace truck is in pit lane. Tom O'Rourke and Martin Gibson lead them up towards the red lights. The pack about to be unleashed. Revs begin to rise. Lights go out now and away they go. And already Neil Yates getting a bit sideways. He tries to get the power down. He's clipped David Jenkins, who goes around. He's tagged John Bowler. They didn't even get to Paddock Hill Bend. Into the gravel goes Bowler. He's into the tyre wall. Jenkins off. Another one goes off. That's Simon Cole. That's surely going to be a red flag straight away. They didn't even get as far as the first corner. They just couldn't put the power down in these damp conditions. And that's surely going to be a race stoppage straight away. The race is still green, but the truck's going very slowly up towards Druids there. And yes, the red flag now does come out. There's John Powell. He's hit something. The front bumper ripped off. But you could see it. The moment the power came on, Neil Yates was the first to go sideways. They just couldn't put the power down on the damp tarmac, and you've got nearly 1,000 horsepower under your right foot. It's impossible. There's John Bowler. He's gone into the tyre wall at Paddock, just went straight through the gravel. But the tyre wall has done its job and stopped him. That's going to have to be towed out by the heavy artillery. David Jenkins went around as well. He was clipped by Neil Yates, I think. Simon Cole we saw spinning as well. Marshall's just checking on John Bowler there. Look at the state of David Jenkins' truck. Whether that's just dirt or whether it's coolant that's come out of the radiator, I'm not sure. I don't think he'll be restarting. Yeah, coolant everywhere. We can see it glistening there. So that's the end of David Jenkins' race. And there'll be a big repair job to do for the first race after lunch. Here comes the heavy artillery. There's Mick Gould's massive Peterbilt. Have you ever seen a truck with a 600 horsepower 15-litre diesel engine, 4 axles and an 18-speed gearbox before? Very impressive at night as well, with it all lit up. We saw that on Bonfire Weekend last year here at Brands in the show truck parade. I can see Steve Bewers and Stacey Reynolds from Trackside Recovery. They're directing operations. Looks like the big Peterbilt is going to be used to drag John Bowler's truck out of the gravel. David Jenkins got going again, but his radiator's damaged, so he won't be restarting. The winch being brought into operation. Let's have a look again. Watch for the second row. Neil Yates, he twitches sideways. David Jenkins tries to get the answer, but Yates is just skating around. He clips Jenkins. He goes into Bowler. Bowler goes flying off into the gravel trap. Jenkins onto the edge of it. Bowler into the tyre wall. And then on the inside, Simon Cole spins as well. I don't think he had any contact. He just spun around going into Paddock. Luckily, no one collected him. Jake Evans managed to get the anchors on in his MAN. That could have been a lot more serious than it was. It was John Powell who hit the back of Bradley Harvey, I think, there. Let's have a look at it from the other angle. There's the tangle. Jenkins and Bowler after a bit of a tap from Neil Yates. Tom O'Rourke was leading. The first three got away okay into Paddock. Now, did anyone else go off further round? Simon Cole spinning on the inside. Everybody managed to avoid him. Everybody else just coming to a stop at the back. Now, Ryan Smith might have had a bit of contact there as well. I think there's some damage on the right front corner of his truck. But it was as if everybody knew the red flag was going to come out. They all slowed up before it did. And now they've got to clear the wreckage. Now David Jenkins got going again out of the gravel trap, the front of the truck shredded, but he very quickly realised there was a lot of damage there. Coolant spraying out, and he pulled up. Look at the state of that MAN. That's a great shame for David. He had a great day yesterday, on the podium in both races in Division 1. That is broken. And there's the Nationwide recovery vehicle. That's 2025 DAF XF, a brand new 3-axle recovery vehicle for Nationwide Vehicle Assistance this week. It was only added to their fleet on Monday, just gone. So getting its first job in here. Nationwide Vehicle Assistance, they offer recovery services, not just in the UK, but across Europe as well. Meanwhile, Mick Gould's truck driven by Richard Tier is busy with John Bowler at paddock. Thankfully, there doesn't seem to be too much damage to the tyre wall. The gravel did its job there of slowing John's spinning truck down. Thankfully, John Bowler, the man from Stockport in the northwest of England, is okay. I don't think his truck will be restarting. That'll be full of gravel. David Jenkins' truck definitely won't be out with that broken radiator. And it looked like Simon Cole escaped without major damage. The medical team in attendance just as a precaution there to give John Bowler a checkup. Let's have a look again. Started with Neil Yates getting sideways. David Jenkins and John Bowler tried to go either side of him, but Jenkins just sliding about all over the place. He clips Jenkins, who spins, cannons into John Bowler, and off they both go. Bowler through the gravel, but it slowed him down. He did hit the tyre wall, but not particularly hard. There goes Simon Cole. It was hard to know where to look on that first corner. And luckily everybody avoided Simon. Jake Evans just pulling up there ahead of Callum Eason to miss the spinning Iveco. Poor old Simon Cole, he's had a disastrous weekend. Off in the first race with no gears. Had problems in race 2 as well, and now this. So the initial tangle between the two at the front. Yeah, Simon Cole, I don't think he hit anybody looking further back. He just hit the brakes as he saw the trucks going off ahead of him and just lost the back end. See how many trucks we get for the restart. Keep an eye on the TSL timing screen. Looks like the scene of the incident is almost clear already. Good job by our marshals and our recovery crews. Now it should be a full restart because they haven't completed a lap. But we'll wait and see. We've got repairs to the tyre wall first of all. We've got a pool of coolant being cleared up on Halewood Rise from David Jenkins MAN. We've got to recover that yet as well. And the Mick Gould commercials, Peterbilt has joined the scene there as well, just sitting, it's like it's flashing away. Must be a pretty menacing sight coming up behind you on the motorway at night, mustn't it? Ford Ranger pickup. That pickup pulled Simon Cole's truck out of the gravel at Clearway yesterday, so that's got some power. Richard, the driver of the Peterbilt, gets out. We did see in the early days of truck racing there was an American, I think it was a Peterbilt anyway, raced by Dutchman Ad van Coverdon. And it did race at Brands Hatch. Well, goodness knows how that got round Druids at speed. And the other American truck to have been raced successfully in Europe was Richard Walker, of course, the Century Oils Kenworth back in the late 80s, which got destroyed, sadly, when a rolling start was aborted at Zolder in Belgium. The front row pulled up, the rest of the pack couldn't see it, and Richard Walker ploughed through the back of Gert Korber's MAN. A lucky escape for Richard there, certainly. Well, while the clear-up operation on Halewood Rise takes place, I think we can head down to our pit reporter Ian, who is down in among the trucks on the grid.
Well, on a a chilly, windy and possibly rainy morning. That's not the start we were hoping for from the second day of the 2025 British Truck Racing Championship, but it's what we've been dealt. John Bowler currently getting recovered. Looks like he'll be on his way. I do believe John Bowler might still be driving. Bad news though for Dave Jenkins, who does look in a terrible state. He's lost all his coolant. He's definitely going to be missing this race. I'd like to hazard a guess he'll be out after lunchtime though, hopefully in time for the grid walk, which of course will be down here giving you all some great shots up close with the drivers and the trucks. We can see here though, everyone's having a little look because we saw some issues from a few drivers then. The coolant must have come out of Dave Jenkins' truck very quickly. We've been told that's what actually caused Simon Cole to spin out further back in the pack. Massive kudos, of course, to the Division 2 drivers there in the start of that race because, you know, usually much further up the pack when the incidents happen, we have huge issues further back. But luckily, not too scathed for the rest of the pack. What does he want? What does he want? Ryan Smith wants to chat, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan, what can I do for you, sir?
I was just going to explain what happened there.
Oh yeah, did you see? Let's get on track. Here we go.
So I was right behind it. So what happened was, as everyone's on a dry setup, the track started to go greasy because the rain started to come. Neil got a little bit of wheel spin, dropped the back end a little bit.
I saw his back end come out, yeah.
And Dave had already made the move, and it was just the slightest contact, which then Dave lost it because there's no grip, and then unfortunately Bowler. But yeah, the conditions was a little bit worse for wear when the rain come early.
They're just it's changing, isn't it? Just now it's cold, it's possibly a little bit greasy, and we actually saw, I mean, from the replay, I've seen it a few times now, as you can imagine. Yeah, it's like you see Neil Yates just lose the back end a bit. Jenko's 7/8 past him though, like almost completely clear.
Yeah, but I don't think Neil saw him,
no.
And I don't think Dave realised he was still on there. And you know what? I think everyone come away with that the best they could, because that could have been a big one. And I think, you know, as long as everyone's safe, that's all that matters there.
Well, Dave's already out. I think John has been recovered now, so it looks like they're all okay. No sign of any paramedics on the track, which is always a win, especially when we've got these ever-changing conditions. Now, this is the thing now, when you're coming out into a race like this, it was cloudy this morning, much colder than it was yesterday. What kind of, do you take a gamble? Is it literally down to that, or do you kind of think, no, I'm going to stick it with dry or change to wet?
Well, I think it's very difficult. Some people would just take a little bit of damping out, soften it off a little bit. Some people would say, well, it's not 100% wet, so it's still fully dry, and go on the dry setup. And that's where even the trucks at 5 ton, they have anti-roll bars, they have everything a racing car does, and it's to maximise the tyre, and we're with Gitti tyres, and that's what it's about. The team make a decision and may grab 2 tenths. But in these conditions, when the track's changed, and like you just rightly said, with the temperature dropping, I like to get a feel for the track, let the truck and tyres come in, get in single file, then have a look at things. I don't think you can win the race at the first corner, but you know, this is how good the championship is now, and people make moves. And you know, look at Neil Yates, the improvement over the winter. It's great, but we have to be mindful of the conditions. We have to be careful with the changing of conditions when we've got 5 ton. And like I said, as long as everybody's got out that okay, it's all that matters.
They certainly have. Well, thanks for talking to us, Ryan. Good luck with the rest of the race. Shake my hand. Thank you. Right, we'll lock you back in. Ryan Smith there with a technical debrief for us of what happened. Literally, eyes on the track. And it's exactly what we saw on the replays as well. These things happen, unfortunately. And as he said quite rightly, it's that everybody walked away from it. Dave, of course, losing some crucial championship points because, again, another fine note that Ryan just made is it's going to be very, very tight this year with regards to the points. Every point makes a difference. I believe going into this race, if I'm correct with my maths, we've actually got Ryan Smith drawing with Stuart Oliver for championship points in Division 1 at the moment, which is just crazy to think about in the first 2 races. Adam Bim, we had some issues with him yesterday in that race where you had trouble getting going after that restart yesterday. What was the problem?
Just a faulty air solenoid valve, so I couldn't actually get into high range gears. But as soon as I parked up, got back in it, turned the switch, it worked straight away. So
Of course it did, of course.
it's just one of them things, you know. This weekend is just a test weekend for us. We seem to have got the GPS working now with a new module. We drove home last night and got that out of my old truck, put in this truck, and the good old faithful whites saved us again.
And so you've officially started to cannibalise the Volvo to bring the next generation into fruition.
Yeah, she's helped out, but it'll be put back on Tuesday morning, don't you worry.
Oh, right, that's it, keep it in one piece. And how are you finding the new truck? Like you just said yourself, it is a kind of, a mission of discovery really with the first few races of the year. Have you had to make many changes, or is it a kind of just getting used to the new setup?
Getting used to the new setup, but it's that different to my old truck that I'm not even having to think about it, it's just coming naturally, so...
Does it make much, I'm sure a lot of the fans watching at home will ask this question, does it make much difference coming from a truck with, the front bonneted truck, the T-cab so to speak, with a kind of flat front that you're driving now? Is the build of the structure that different that it handles completely differently?
Yeah, the centre of gravity, especially for me as a driver, the feeling I'm getting being over the front of the axle, where so every steering input actually moves me, where on my old truck I was sat behind the rear axle, so I didn't feel the positivity of the steering. So that's been a big change for me.
So you're steering yourself rather than steering the bonnet, and I bet, it's like when you accidentally change the view on Gran Turismo and you're all of a sudden on the front bumper.
Well, that's the thing, we can adjust the power steering pressure, so it's like on a sim that you adjust the sensitivity, so even doing stuff like that is, you have to find out what works for you. So,
well, fingers crossed we'll get some more testing in now then, and Adam Bint, ladies and gentlemen, of course joining us in Division 1 this year, and it's fantastic to see. There we go, I think that's in. Fantastic, so we can see the marshals now. They're obviously regridding. They're having orders from above to kind of rearrange the grid. Not sure, because it was in the first lap, we're hopefully going to get the full 15-minute restart. But of course, if this starts to happen later in the day, we might have other issues. I'm just going to check his door, hold on. Yeah, just check it, yeah. Just wanted to check his door. Because what we don't want is it being Pointy's responsibility that Adam Bint's door flies open on the first corner. Because, I'm not sure I'm covered for that. Look at this though, let's just have a quick look. Everybody give us a wave if you can, that's it, see who's paying attention. Even though it's absolutely freezing cold down in West Kingsdown today, we've got a fantastic crowd that have come to see the truck racing. They'll be grateful to see themselves on the YouTube stream later on. Of course, don't forget, if you miss these live streams, you can watch it back to your heart's content on demand once the stream ends at the end of the weekend. And of course, make sure you leave your comments on there, because we do check. Let's have a look back then here with Sammy O'Yannon, the Mad Croc Racing team. We looked at it yesterday. Bit of a story, unfortunately. Not a great start for Sammy. Some tyres were missed and he went out on Goodyears. Of course, in the FIA, they use Goodyear tyres. We're purely GT in this championship. And so we had a bit of a rearrangement of scores yesterday. The first race of Saturday, Sammy unfortunately didn't get the trophy handed out to him, so we ended up with Callum Eason actually getting the third position, and I believe it was Bradley who got moved up, Bradley Harvey who got moved up into second place. So not the results you saw as they crossed the line, but they of course were very happy to get those. So Callum Eason over here in the number 26, Green Group sponsored. Oh, it's time, we're leaving. We'll just look left, look right. We've got a couple of trucks coming in. But we have been requested to get off the grid now. So we're gonna make our way back to safety as we hopefully go for another restart. So it's back to Dave Goddard in the commentary. We've got horns, back to you, Dave.
Well, thanks very much. We were told it was going to be Ian down on the grid, but apparently Pointy finished his breakfast and decided to join us. To be fair, they do a very good breakfast here at Brands Hatch in the Kentigan restaurant. And we are nearly ready for the restart. Great to see that John Bowler's back out. His truck not too badly damaged by that off. Simon Cole's back as well. Yes, Pointy's going to be finding people to ambush for interviews throughout the day in the truck racing paddock. He'll be joining us on the grid walk at lunchtime as well. We are almost ready for a restart by the look of things, and I think it is going to be, we'll check the timing screen, it is going to be the full 15 minutes because we haven't completed a racing lap. I think, fingers crossed, the rain may have eased off a bit because the tarmac looks a little drier down there now. So away we go on the rolling restarts. Second attempt at our third truck race of the weekend. See the marks in the gravel where those trucks went off. Obviously we're missing David Jenkins, just seeing if anybody else is absent down there. Seventeen trucks out there. Bradley Harvey's not there, that's the other truck we're missing, the Weaver Motorsports DAF. 17 trucks then for a 15-minute restart. Race 3 for the British Truck Racing Championship. Tom O'Rourke and Martin Gibson on the front of the grid. The drivers will be a little more circumspect this time. It'll be rather slippery out there still. These 5-ton, 1,000 horsepower, 100-mile-an-hour beasts. John Powell looking rather battered at the back of the field there. Had a bit of contact in the run into Paddock Hill Bend. Jake Evans, winner in Division 2 on his debut yesterday, the man from Stoke. Base truck into pit lane. What's going to happen this time? Revs begin to rise. Racing for the red lights to go out. Here we go. Second attempt at our third truck race of the weekend, our first today. Off they go. It's a good start by Tom O'Rourke from pole position down in that first corner, side by side for second place. Are they all going to make it round? They're just a little careful this time through paddock. It's definitely a little drier out there now. It is O'Rourke who leads the way. The powder put down on the coolant from David Jenkins' truck is kicked up into the air. Running out wide is Neil Yates. He's had a good run round the outside in the early stages. Bit of push and shove there in the pack. That's Adam Bintander. Round goes Michael Oliver. David Smith, the man he tangled with. Look out. Jake Evans finds the track blocked in front of him. He gets round. Michael Oliver, hopefully he can get going and the race will continue. Lead is with Martin Gibson. He's got past down the Cooper Straight, past Tom O'Rourke, but I've got a bad feeling that Michael Oliver's stranded there on the exit of Druids. That will lead to another red flag if so. Hopefully he can get that truck going again. Yes, he has. That's good to see. Michael Oliver's having a pretty disastrous weekend, had a couple of incidents yesterday. His teammates from Team Oliver Racing, Martin Gibson leads ahead of O'Rourke. Neil Yates, John Bowler is in fourth. Brian Smith has already made up 3 places. He's up into 5th position from the 4th row of the grid, helped by the absence of David Jenkins, creating a bit of a hole in the field. Behind him is Stephen Powell. Then we've got Stuart Oliver, and then Division 2 is led by Simon Cole, who's had a good first lap. As a result of that little schmozzle up at Druids, he's been able to make up a few places. Next through is David Smith, who tangled with Michael Oliver. Down the hill, Tom O'Rourke under fire from Neil Yates. Martin Gibson has the lead, looking for a comeback victory this weekend here at Brands Hatch, but it's Flying Ryan Smith giving chase. Chasing down John Bowler. Sliding about there is Neil Yates. Of course, you've got the fully dry setup on all of these trucks. It will still be a little squirrely in the early laps. They get used to the conditions. There's David Smith, a chunk bit now to the front of his MAN. Well, Martin Gibson leads the way by nearly 2 seconds over Tom O'Rourke at the end of the second lap. John Bowler's done the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute, .259. Chasing down Neil Yates, who's running very well indeed up there in third, trying to attack Tom O'Rourke now for P2. Bowler and Ryan Smith up behind them. They're stacking up behind Tom O'Rourke's International here. Out of Druids, there's Stuart Oliver up behind them as well. All this is allowing Martin Gibson to escape in the 101 very slightly. Division 2 is led by Simon Cole. Second is Sami Oyanen. Third, Archie Handy, son of Simon Cole in the older Volvo. Here come your leaders, from Surtees and McLaren. Ryan Smith having a look at the back of John Bowler. First and a third for Flying Ryan. Yesterday somebody's kicked up the dust. I think that was O'Rourke running a bit wide. He's held second place, the Scotsman. St Andrew's Cross displayed proudly on the front grille of his number 86. Neil Yates trying to get into position to attack as they come out of Paddock-Hill Bend, but his truck not handling well. You see the rear end stepped out again there. He's sliding it about. Bowler now on his tail. Here comes Stuart Oliver to attack Ryan Smith for P5 now. Gibson's still leading by just under 2 seconds. Stuart Oliver's done the fastest lap, 59.813, the first man to lap under 1 minute in this race. It's definitely drying out there once again. There's 5 of them line astern, battling like the Caterhams were yesterday. Tom O'Rourke is definitely the cork in the bottle here, isn't he? He's holding the others up slightly. He hasn't got the speed of those behind him, but he's got the racing line. Ryan Smith now deciding to have a go on the outside. Not close enough to attack John Bowler. Here's a battle further back. That's our Division 2 leader, Simon Cole. Had no luck at all yesterday. Had a spin at the first start of this race, so just hoping to survive and at least get some points on the board, hopefully with a class win. Second in the Division 2 points last year without even winning a race. There's a back marker up ahead I can see there. Graham Poole is soon going to be lapped, just learning the craft on his debut. Martin Gibson will try and pass him. He's 2.5 seconds up the road now, Martin Gibson's an impressive drive from the Team Oliver Racing MAN. That's the truck that Stuart Oliver used part of last season, I believe, after his Volvo was badly damaged at Thruxton. Neil Yates is flinging his truck around. Not doing full-on power slides. That was the preserve of the great Swede Kurt Göransson in the late 80s and early 90s, and truck racing had its biggest boom period. He used to drive his Volvo absolutely sideways. Used to work in the logging industry in Sweden, so he's used to driving on icy roads. Graham Poole there letting the leaders through. Gibson still leads by over 2.5 seconds. This is very impressive from Martin Gibson. The GT Tyres Tahuna Honey sponsored MAN. The International Navistar second. The MAN of Neil Yates still third. As they come down the hill into Graham Hill Bend. Still no change in position. Not the easiest track to overtake on in a truck. Ryan Smith trying to have a go at John Bowler there into Surtees. Bowler's got the line. He's got to be mindful that one false move and Stuart Oliver will be through. Still Tom O'Rourke defending that second place. He hasn't quite got the speed of his rivals. This is allowing Martin Gibson to escape. Here's a battle in Division 2 and Division 1. Sami Oyanen, the Division 2 Sisu, ahead of the Division 1 DAF of John Powell, and behind him is Jake Evans, our Division 2 winner from yesterday. Powell goes wide onto the grass. This is the battle for 11th place overall. They're behind Michael Oliver, who's raced his way back up into 10th place, having had that tangle with David Smith. I think we may have lost Adam Bint again, unfortunately. The Mercedes hasn't come through. Still some teething problems with that machine. Ryan Smith goes wide, so does Stuart Oliver. They're determined to get past John Bowler. Can Smith get the line away this time? These three have dropped back a little bit from Neil Yates, who's still dancing that MAN around ahead of them. This is great stuff. Smith has a look again. Tries again. Now he's got the line. Coming onto the Brabham Straight. He's alongside John Bowler. He could get past here if he's late on the brakes into Paddock Kilbend. He's going for P4. He's got the inside line. He's surely going to go through on the run up to Druids. Is he going to get the move done before the right-hander? Bowler doesn't give way, but he knows that Oliver's going to try and follow. They almost lean on each other. Surely Smith's got it done now. Yes, he has, up into 4th place. Now here comes Stuart Oliver. Bowler caught between the two most successful British truck racers ever. Tom O'Rourke, meanwhile, I said he was a bit slower than his rivals. He's done the fastest lap of the race. 59.744 last time through. So the second place man finding some extra pace. One driver who is a bit off the pace this weekend, sadly, is Stephen Powell, number 3. He's down behind David Smith and Michael Oliver. So he's down to, I think, 9th place now. And into the pit lane, was that Simon Cole? No, it's Archie Handy, the other Cole Truck Sport machine. So Archie Handy in problems with the Volvo, he's pulled into the pits. Adam Bint is still out there, he just wasn't transponding earlier on, as up the inside goes Neil Yates, defending from Ryan Smith now. John Bowler still holding off Stuart Oliver. But look, O'Rourke has got away from this group now. So he's finding a second wind in this race, if you like. It's over 6 minutes of the race to go, and he's going to try and go after Martin Gibson. Ryan Smith, a bit of Morse code on the back of Neil Yates there. Stuart Oliver possibly doing the same to John Bowler, couldn't quite see that. Yates in the number 33, the heavy recovery boss on his local circuit, and he's trying frantically to hold back Ryan Smith. He wants a podium. Smith's going to try and go to the outside into Paddock Hill Bend. I don't think he'll get round there. Try and get the cutback at Druids. There's Gibson still leading. O'Rourke's going after him, and the gap is going out. Another fastest lap for Tom O'Rourke. 59.698 for the International Navistar. Now, I thought the Scotsman was holding his rivals up in second place. Suddenly, he seems to have found a higher gear. Maybe it's because Neil Yates has dropped off the pace a little. Yes, the gap is definitely coming down for the lead of this race. It's over 5 minutes to go. Can Tom O'Rourke catch Martin Gibson? I don't think the International Navistar has taken a win yet in this championship. Tom's had a couple of wins in his old MAN. There you can see how the gap has come down, slowly but surely, by a few tenths a lap. Across the stripe they go. Comes down again. It's 2 seconds, 0.06 now. Taking another tenth out of it. And still Ryan Smith can't get past our third place man. Back markers coming into the equation. Stephen Powell, incidentally, has pulled into the pits. I thought he was off the pace. He's had a problem. So Powell's in the pits. Not a happy day for the local man. Not a happy meeting so far. Now there's back markers up ahead. Callum Eason is one of them. Ryan Smith tries again, coming onto the Cooper Straight. Stuart Oliver just biding his time behind John Bowler. There's Callum Eason about to be lapped, and treble 3 being lapped as well. Graham Poole. Oh, Graham Poole, he's clipped the race leader, he spins. Ooh, lucky escape there, Martin Gibson. He was nearly taken out as Graham Poole was trying to get out of the way, but he's lost it. Can he get going again? Let's hope we don't see the red flags come out again. Graham Poole spun at Surtees and brought out the reds yesterday. And that's created a little bit of a hole in the field. Graham's getting going again. Churns the grass up. That'll incur the wrath of Dr. Jonathan Palmer, the boss of Motorsport Vision, who owns this circuit. Please replace your divots, gentlemen. 3.5 minutes to go. And Tom O'Rourke has almost caught our leader as a result of that. I thought Martin Gibson was going to be sent spinning. He's gathered it up, but he's got O'Rourke on his tail now. And still, Ryan Smith cannot get past Neil Yates. Yates block defending again towards Surtees. He almost threw the block on him there as the leaders lap Callum Easton. Smith's going through at Surtees. Has he got him? Yates on the curve, Smith up to P3. We're in for a grandstand finish in this one. Certainly the best truck race of the weekend so far. And now Smith fairly rocketing away from Neil Yates, going after the two leaders. There are Gibson and O'Rourke. 2 minutes 50 still to go, so we'll get at least a couple more laps out of this. Can Tom O'Rourke snatch the win from Martin Gibson? He's rounding his tail as they go down to paddock. Gibson gets his foot down and holds the lead. Smith is now gunning for the two leaders. Gibson a little bit wide there through Druids. Yates still there in fourth, and still Stuart Oliver can't get past John Bowler, the truck that was in the tyre wall on the first start. This is cracking stuff. Ryan Smith has just done the fastest lap of the race. You'd expect that now. He's in clear air, 59.431. And the gap is going to come down to our two leaders. But Tom O'Rourke is in attacking mode. So is Ryan Smith. Can he get past these two? I don't think they've noticed. They're so busy with their own battle, they haven't noticed Ryan's coming up behind them. Tom O'Rourke's going for it. He's got the inside run into paddock bend. This could be the move. Ooh, not quite. Gibson runs wide, but he keeps his foot in. That's brave driving by Martin Gibson. There's more back markers ahead. And Ryan Smith pops up alongside Tom O'Rourke. Neil Yates still sliding all over the place in that fourth position. MAN, International, Daimler, the top three. Just over a minute left on the clock now. Well, there's a 5-second penalty showing for Ryan Smith on the timing screen. It doesn't say why. Yes, 5-second penalty for Ryan Smith for exceeding track limits. That's just come through to us. So it's between the two at the front, Gibson and O'Rourke for the victory, because Ryan Smith has got a penalty pending. Number 61 has as well, Sami Ojanen. So into the last lap we go. Can Tom O'Rourke make the move? What a cracking finish we're in for. Smith's going to attack up the inside. O'Rourke swings across on him to take the line for Druids. He clipped the back of Martin Gibson. Smith up the outside. Gibson moves across. Get off, he says to Tom O'Rourke. Oh, they could finish side by side, these two. O'Rourke's trying everything in the book, but he's left the door open at Graham Hill Bend. Smith goes through, he's lost his chance. And well, with the penalty provisionally pending for Ryan Smith, it looks like it is going to be a win for Martin Gibson. They're in heavy back marker traffic. They've caught the Division 2 boys. Jake Evans just ahead of them there. He needs to be careful here, Martin Gibson. Smith lunges for the inside. They're side by side on the run in. Martin Gibson doesn't give way. Smith forces him out wide. Well, and O'Rourke could get up the inside here. Smith's going to take the flag in front. Look at O'Rourke up the inside. He's got him out of clear ways for the last time. Smith's going to take the flag in front. O'Rourke gets ahead of Gibson, and Gibson in a photo finish with Neil Yates. My goodness. Well, the back markers came into play there. Let's have a look, though. Yes, the penalty is applied to Ryan Smith, so Tom O'Rourke has won it. Tom O'Rourke takes the first win for the International Navistar. He won't know it yet, but Ryan Smith, a penalty there for exceeding track limits, and that's dropped him provisionally to 6th. What an incredible race. That's one of the best British truck races I have seen in a long time. We never even got a chance to look at Division 2, unfortunately. The Division 2 victory, they're just coming through clearways now, is going to go to Simon Cole. Michael Oliver's finished 7th. I'll take you through the results in a moment. There was so much going on at the front there. Here comes Simon Cole. After his problems yesterday, he makes up for it. He wins Division 2. At long last, Simon Cole has a race victory in Division 2. Having come so close last season every time. Now 2nd place in Division 2. We're going to have to wait because Sami Ojanen has got a penalty as well. I think Ojanen is 2nd, yes, and 3rd is Jake Evans, 4th Callum Easton, And I need a cold shower. We'll confirm the results in a second, but Martin Gibson celebrates. He's finished second. He was boxed in behind a back marker there on the run to the line, and Tom O'Rourke pinched it. What an incredible race. Okay, get my breath back. And the provisional result is as follows. Tom O'Rourke in the International Navistar. I believe that's the first win for that truck. Well done to him. Martin Gibson, who led all the way virtually there, snatched the win snatched from his grasp on the run to the line, and Neil Yates on the podium in third. Well done to him as well. John Bowler fourth. He held off Stuart Oliver all the way. Fifth place goes to Stuart Oliver. Ryan Smith relegated to sixth by the track limits penalty. Then Michael Oliver and David Smith seventh and eighth. That provisionally gives them the front row for race 5 later on. John Powell Knight, Simon Cole at long last gets a Division 2 win in 10th, then Adam Bint, Sami Oyanen, Jake Evans, Callum Eason, and the final finisher was Graham Poole, because we lost Stephen Powell and Archie Handy into the pits. Bradley Harvey and David Jenkins didn't take the restart. Pointy, over to you to sum that epic up for us.
Well, what an incredible result for Tom O'Rourke. I can't remember the last time he'll be this happy. I'm racing Alan to pole position. It's a race for the commentators as much as it is for the drivers. Get out of the way! Unbelievable. Got his bum on camera. So Tom O'Rourke, a fantastic race. Come on round, here we go, let the camera in, get him on. Tom, look at the smile on your face. What a race.
That was brilliant, really enjoyed it. At the first kind of interval I thought, I'm away, I'm clear. Martin just stepped in. You know, I was just being a wee bit too cautious. He was obviously a bit braver. And then I just caught him in the last lap there.
I know, we saw that. I mean, Martin got bogged down. You just sailed through, kept your momentum. It was a beautiful take.
Yeah, good. It was, good. We've had a lot of bad luck in the last couple of years. It's great to get a win, you know.
Absolutely fantastic.
Weekend engines, gearboxes, you name it. But
well, this is it, to come from having an engine floating in the air Friday night to a first place Sunday morning. What a journey.
Yeah, the team have been absolutely unbelievable. Just worked all weekend heartlessly. Great, you know.
Well done, buddy. We're going to let you go. They're whistling and tooting at us. Congratulations, Tom O'Rourke. What a result.